Today, I sit down with Vice President of External Affairs, Julia Wood. Julia is a recent Goodman graduate in international business with a minor in political science. She's a former residence Don. She's worked at SJC as the events coordinator. She's been a brand ambassador for the university and is the past executive treasurer for the Leadership Citizen Society here at Brock. My name is David Berryman, and this is A Few Good Minutes. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm so excited.
I know, eh? This is pretty special. We got the tower in the background.
I know. Nice setup here.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
So last time we talked, you were a candidate and we did the carpool karaoke.
That was a good time.
It was an amazing time. In that time, you've been a candidate, you've won your election, and you've been in office for a little bit.
Yes.
How's that transition been, and how's the team working out?
The team's great.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's really cool and an exciting time to be in the office because we are all brand new and the learning curve is real steep, but we are all learning together and it's been a really amazing transition. The team has really supported each other through it all. And I'm learning so much fascinating stuff about my job, how I interact with students at the provincial level of government, federal level of government, and then also student leaders here at Brock. It's been an amazing 2 months so far.
Cool. So you talk about working with students at the provincial and federal level. Can you kind of explain your position as the External Affairs Prime Minister?
I wish.
Vice President, just kind of like what you do, because you have a unique role in comparison to everyone else.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than the other three positions because a lot of my work is external from the university. Right. So we're a big member school in two advocacy groups, one provincial called OUSA and then one federal called CASA. So OUSA, I was lucky enough to be elected as the Vice President of Human Resources and Administration with them. And then at CASA, the federal body, I was lucky enough again to be elected as the Director of Member Relations with them.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really exciting.
Yeah. And so what's the importance of these groups? So OUSA being our provincial and CASA being our federal. Why is it important that we're represented through these bodies?
Yeah, it's extremely important because what we really do through them is we make sure that our voice as Brock students are being heard at the provincial level, at Queen's Park, and at the federal level. And so that's really important for us as students to make sure that student needs are a priority for these politicians. The youth voice is extremely important. We showed that especially in the last election in the fall, you know, huge voter turnout for students and youth. So we want to make sure that we're represented and that our needs are understood.
What makes you a unique EA compared to past EAs and UAs that we've had in the past?
Yeah. So I think what makes me a bit more unique is that well, I'm a woman, but I ran on a social justice platform and those are issues that really I care about a lot. So I promised when I ran that I was doing what I could to represent marginalized groups and minorities on campus, and I think that I'm really taking steps forward in doing that. I'm working hard to be the author of the sexual violence policy that we're writing for the provincial government this year.
That's great. So we kind of laugh at the fact that you're a female executive. How's it being the only female executive this year?
You know, it's okay. It's not bad. I listen to a lot more Drake and I follow the basketball playoffs very closely.
So why do you think, I think in the executive elections, you were the only female candidate running for any of the executive positions. Yes. Why do you think student elections are typically saturated with male candidates?
Yeah, and like this came up in the debates as well, and it's an issue that I definitely want to see change moving forward. I would love to see, I think it just starts from the beginning in how we work with in volunteers and get them excited about what BUSU is doing and engaging them right from the beginning. So one of my big projects for this year is I'm actually hoping to start a first year council up. So getting first years out and involved in BUSU and having them informed in what we're doing as an organization, starting them off from day one and hopefully instilling that want to be involved and seeing how amazing this opportunity is down the line. And then again, that starts with, you know, hiring a diverse staff in the office and making sure that we're reaching out and our volunteers feel appreciated. And that support will really help us out with retention down the line and having more people run in elections down the line too.
I'm just going to dive into your platform a bit. One of your points was you wanted to provide a free fresh food hub. on campus. Have you have any development on that so far?
Right, so there have been a lot of changes to the food bank.
Yes.
So the food bank has actually moved locations. So I can advertise it to you all now, but the food bank is now in General Brock, which is great. It will really help with the efficiency of running the food bank, so that's really cool. Because we're not really sure how it's moving forward just yet. The Fresh Food Hub has been almost on the back burner, but I have a meeting actually tomorrow to discuss how we're going to bring some fresh food on campus. So it is still in the works, but with the big move and a shuffle of different people and different organizations around campus, we're still working things out.
Okay. Well, so if once you start getting things figured out, how do you plan on financing this Fresh Food Hub? Is it going to be, are you allocating money from the Fed Up funds?
Yes, that's likely how it'll be happening. At the end of the school year, we did also approach board with a request for funding from the Fed Up funds for refrigeration. So we already are taking steps moving forward and receiving funding in that sense. We will also be looking for some sponsorship as well to make this happen. Yeah.
So kind of talking about Fed Up, I talked about this with Patrick earlier as well. Affordable food is going to be in a conversation on campus for a few years now. Where do you think Fed Up went wrong and where the executive this year are hoping to take affordable food on campus?
I think that we also just need to make sure that we are really managing our third-party fees and regulating our third-party fees really proactively, being very proactive about that. But also moving forward with the food affordability, that was a big part of my platform. It was a big part of Patrick's platform. Sodexo is here to stay for a little bit. You know, we are in a contract with them. When negotiations coming up, we'll see where it goes moving forward, but we are looking at other options right now to really combat that issue.
Right.
So yes, Fed Up didn't really work out the way we wanted it to, but Patrick and myself are both proactively working towards bringing cheaper food onto campus for students.
And OSAP Reform. So while you're running for this position, I guess that happened after you were elected. Kathleen Wynne decided to introduce free tuition for low-income families. First off, what are your views on her proposition?
I think that's great, and it was a huge win. It's something that OUSA has been lobbying on for a while now, a few years, and it was a huge win for us and a huge win for students across the province. But we have our strategy meeting next week for OUSA, and we are going to be talking about more financial aid issues. So the issue is not off the table. It's something we're still talking about. We know that there are still improvements that can be made, so that will be a conversation that we'll be having in the near future.
So you'll still be pushing for more like scholarships and bursaries for students.
Exactly, which was a big part of my platform as well. Yeah.
And another part of your platform was mental health awareness and programming. Again, a platform point that you and Patrick shared. What do you hope to achieve with this?
Yeah, so we're actually doing something really cool. We're bringing an app onto campus. This app's called I Am Well, and it's through our student VIP, so it's through your health and dental plan already. So that's really great. It's available to all students, and it's an app that will it tracks how you're feeling. It connects you to a counselor through the phone or through the app if you're ever needing someone 24/7.
So have you sat down with Jad as well about Wellness Week? Because Wellness Week, when it was first established, I guess 3 years ago by Liv, the then VPSS, she had mental health programming in mind. And we've kind of seen as the years going on that it's kind of shifted towards more programming that's like more concerts and activities that aren't really about de-stressing and whatnot.
Yeah, so I definitely want to make mental health a focus on the table again. And that was a big concern, especially towards the end of the year. People were really concerned about mental health kind of just being this buzzword that people were throwing around, and what are we actually doing to help our students who are struggling on campus. So yes, definitely bringing that conversation forward and making sure that we're making mental health the core of what we're doing in terms of those wellness weeks.
That's great. And I guess one of the largest platform points you had was sexual consent and sexual assault support on campus. You have been working with this before at the Student Justice Center.
Yeah.
What do you plan to do to further move that point?
So what we've been doing right now is a lot of conversations on campus with the Sexual Violence Prevention Working Group, and there's a really great team of people who are working on the policy. We are developing a standalone policy it's phenomenal. I've been in the edits that are happening right now, but what we want to see is more student feedback right now. So we want students to actually read the policy and give us some feedback, say if you were going through this experience or you have gone through this experience, what do you need from the university to help support you? And moving forward, doing what we can to make sure that we are offering students the best services in that sense.
So sexual assault and sexual consent is kind of being something that's been thrown around for a few years now, but I'd hate to say it hasn't been taken seriously, but to an extent it hasn't.
Yeah.
And recently with current events going on at Stanford University with Brock Turner and even here ourselves with our professor, do you think that more students are going to be engaged in the conversation?
Yeah, and that's, it's unfortunate circumstances, but we're hoping that because of those unfortunate circumstances, people are going to want to be involved and people are going to be more aware of these issues. People are going to familiarize themselves with what consent actually is. I don't know if there's an actual full understanding for a lot of students what consent actually entails. So having those consent trainings, that was a big part of what I want to see. So really pushing for that education aspect as we move into orientation week especially.
And just the last point on this, we currently do have a Safer Brock on campus. They have been an initiative on campus for a few years now. Do you plan on working with them?
Yes, we do. Jamie and I have been communicating this summer, and we would love to see a deeper connection between BUSU and what we're doing and what we offer as services and a Safer Brock, and really making sure that students are aware that those services are available through them. They run really great comprehensive services in a confidential space downtown, and we want students to be aware that that exists.
That's great. And so do you have a timeline for the completion of your platform points this year?
So goals, definitely by the end of the summer for sure, but based on how some of the projects are laid out, the housing thing, I'm doing that survey, so based on your results and also in terms of sexual violence, that policy paper, that will be around November. So summer is a lot of big concepts coming together and making sure that the ideas are really solid and that we have a good plan moving forward. And then the follow through will be just checking things off the box throughout the year. Yeah.
Actually implementing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, thanks for taking time out of your day to sit down
Thank
and talk to
you.
me.
Thanks, BrockTV.
My guest today was Julia Wood, Vice President of External Affairs of your Brock University Students Union.
We're going to work with our volunteer coordinator, Kunari Lache, to coordinate some volunteers to make sure that the cleanup effort is done adequately or the day after St. Patrick's Day. I really hope to have a big force of students there to help clean up the street and show the community that we care about them. And